Hi everyone, welcome back to our YouTube channel. My name is Jennifer Dominic. I am the founder of WeNite and I am also going to be your interviewer for today. Now, if you're watching the first video on the WeNite channel, welcome. The aim of WeNite is a social enterprise that tries to educate people with 10 years or less experience about the various career paths that exist within the STEM industry, particularly within the sciences. And we aim to do this through hearing the stories directly through real people in the jobs. Today, we'll be hearing from Chinedu, who's going to share her experience about having a background in biomedical science and who currently found her way back into academia after a very diverse and exciting career through medical writing and so much more. Chinedu, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today, and we're very excited to find out a little bit more about you. So tell the audience, who is Chinedu?
Sure, yeah, and lovely to be here for the opportunity. So my name is Chinedu. I am a lecturer in biosciences at Brunel University.
And how long have you been a lecturer for?
So it's actually quite a recent post. I was given this role in May this year, so roughly over 3 months, but in the past I worked as a teaching fellow prior to entering this post.
That's pretty cool. So why don't you just talk us through a little bit about what a day in the life of your role looks like?
Sure, yeah. So if somebody was to watch me for like a week or like a day, they would see me doing email checks, just going over emails from colleagues, um, curriculum development, so preparing teaching material that I will then teach in September, creating assessment material like exams, which will be used once term starts. They'll also see me creating interview questions because I work in a medical school, so we conduct interviews 3 times a year. So they'll see me creating questions for that. Also in meetings, we tend to have a lot of meetings in academia just to talk about student support or curriculum development or house tutor roles. So yeah, and of course teaching students. But at the moment, because it's summer holidays, it's very quiet. But yeah, in a nutshell, those are the few things they'll see me doing.
That's quite a diverse number of tasks and activities. And is that all based, are you at the university that you work at most of the time? Do you have an opportunity to sort of do some of those activities from home? What would you say you do at the university versus at home versus anywhere else outside of those two places?
Yeah, I think because the medical school I actually work in is quite new, it's in its infancy. They're quite keen for us to be on campus, so I'm on campus in the office 4 days a week. But I do have one day where I can be at home, which is really good because I can do lecture recordings, which students can watch ahead of time. If there's any other like research tasks I have, because I'm an education academic, I can use my day at home to focus on research questions and study designs and things like that.
That all sounds pretty cool. And it begs the question, how did you end up at a role like this? Talk us through your journey from the point of choosing some of your earlier subjects in secondary school up until
Yeah.
the role you have today.
Yeah, so it wasn't straightforward. So I haven't always wanted to be a lecturer. I actually wanted to initially study medicine. I studied biology, chemistry, physics, and Spanish in college, and sadly, I didn't get the grades for medical school. So I went on to study biomedical science, did that for 3 years in Newcastle University. Really enjoyed it, enjoyed the research side of things, but also was still passionate about going into medicine. So I applied again, and then during the wait, I did a master's in reproductive science and women's health at UCL because I'm just interested in women's health and, you know, reproductive science. I don't think it's a topic spoken about often. Um, and yeah, again, didn't get into medicine. So I was like, okay, medicine, that door is not opening. So it's time to turn our eyes and focus elsewhere. So I was like, what do I enjoy doing? What am I still interested in? And science was still the field I wanted to be in. And I enjoyed learning. I enjoyed the just gaining new knowledge, but just didn't quite know what career I wanted to enter. So I actually had the opportunity of doing a PhD in the University of Manchester. My PhD focused on pre-eclampsia, and so I was there in Manchester for like 3 years, really enjoyed it. And as you know, in universities, they have career fairs and you learn about all the different careers post graduation. So during one of the careers fairs, I came across a career called medical writing. And I was like, huh, interesting, never heard of this. A very niche area and kind of hush hush at the time. Nobody really knew about it. But it's basically a chance to work with a healthcare communications company, and they supply scientific content for pharmaceutical companies like Roche, Merck, trying to think, AstraZeneca, just different pharmaceutical biopharma companies. You can be writing abstracts for them, creating slide decks, creating posters. So following my PhD, I applied for medical writing jobs, got a few rejections, which is okay, it's all part of it, but eventually secured a job, and I was working as a medical writer for about maybe a year and a half, but I actually missed the interpersonal relationships that you develop whilst in a university setting, and I miss the diversity and dynamic nature of academia. So I started to like do ad hoc teaching gigs, like a tutorial here, did biology A-level tutoring just to kind of refresh my teaching skills. And then I secured a part-time job as a teaching fellow at the University of Hertfordshire. Did that. I was also an admissions tutor, and then also secured a part-time role at Brunel, supporting them with curriculum development and design. And so fast forward to 2022, I managed to, well, my line manager at Brunel spotted a lectureship that was being advertised and sent it my way. And I went for the interview and I got the job. And I think having that, the fact that I was already a part-time worker there was very helpful. So that's the long story of how I got to where I am today.
Honestly, it's such a diverse path. And I think it really emphasizes the fact that just from where you started, taking it all the way back with your intention to want to do medicine, and then to where you are today. So the intention is still there, what you love is still there, the way in which you wanted to kind of engage with everybody, like the people, society, etc. It sounds like you've kind of found your way back around to loving that again and doing that, but you've also expressed and found your strengths through different roles over that time. So I think it's really super insightful. And I guess maybe my next question to follow that would be, with this journey to date, where do you see yourself going? It sounds like it could be academia because of that social element, but what does the future hold for you?
Oh, that's a big question. Definitely would like to keep teaching in academia for the next maybe 10 to 20 years, and just progress, you know, to senior lecturer, assistant professor, and just develop those core skills. But I'm actually quite passionate about community outreach, social impact, and I would one day like to set up my own social enterprise. You know, yeah, it's still, you know, quite early. I haven't really put too much thought into it, but I would like to keep that up. Even medical writing, as what's good about that job is that you can be a freelancer. So whilst it may not be your main profession, you can still do like um, yeah, side jobs and be like a medical writing consultant at the side. So yeah, it'll be quite a blended blended career, I think, in a couple of years. Something that gives more flexibility and allows me to work from home a bit more too.
Okay, I think I'm excited in the future to almost see if we have an opportunity to connect again and see what that journey looks like after this video, and hopefully
Yeah.
have a point of reference to go back to and see how much of that is still happening and how much of that has changed. But you mentioned there around wanted to do community outreach and social enterprise stuff.
Mhm.
So another question I have for you is, of course, this is something, this video and sharing your story is something you've chosen to do.
Mhm.
And to kind of help us to, as an organization at WeNight, to showcase the variety of pathways that people can take. What do
Yeah.
you hope that you sharing your journey would do for others?
Yeah. So I think in sharing my journey to others, I hope to empower and inspire other young Black women like myself who may be interested in going into STEM careers, specifically science, biosciences, to know that it is feasible, to not be discouraged by the statistics and maybe not having many lecturers or the the gap in attainment, but to know that with the right guidance and mentorship, that they can actually enter a career in STEM and excel in it, you know, not just survive, but actually excel and do well. And I really hope that yeah, can just be what I didn't really see growing up. Growing up, I didn't see many Black professors, female professors, and so I'm hoping to just encourage more people from ethnic minorities to step into STEM and, you know, meet me on this side and just, yeah, hoping to pave the way for others.
I'm so glad to hear that. And you lead into the other question that I was going to ask you very well, which was around the importance of equity, diversity, and inclusion in the field that you work in the area you work in. And you've kind of given encouragement, or at least try to empower others to kind of come into it. Maybe a different perspective is for those who are not necessarily directly of African descent or are Black women like yourself and myself, what
Yeah.
else do you think we all should be doing more of in order to help those people actually come in and excel when they kind of get into industry as well?
Yeah, good question. I definitely think building a community within your field, so making contacts early with people via LinkedIn or Twitter and knowing the key players in your field. A lot of the mentors I have now, I've actually connected with on LinkedIn. I would say getting a mentor is who you're compatible with, of course, is very key. If you can get a sponsor, someone who is slightly more advanced than you and has an influential role in your organization, who can kind of speak about you when you're not in the room and like, yeah, just big you up and put your name forward for things, that would be really great. Um, Obviously, platforms like this and blogs where, you know, spotlighting different careers in STEM, sharing career journeys, career decisions, and trajectory. So people know the different options they have. They know that it's not one size fits all. And yeah, I think those are a few things I would suggest. Just being open and paying it forward as well, not keeping the journey and information to yourself, but just sharing where possible.